I got this thing down a little bit. Okay, this will help because the bowl system changes so much. It's hard to follow, quite frankly. Even it's my job. It's tough to do. So we find out Sunday at 12:15 the top 12. Correct?
Correct.
All right. They'll make the announcements. Here's who's going where. Top 12. Then I've learned right after that, Sunday afternoon, Orlando, they get a pick.
Correct.
So they will get a pick, and they will take, depending on who it is, and obviously we got to see who the top 12 is. We don't know because the SMU-Clemson wild card. Clemson wins. Is it SMU? Is it Alabama? Ooh, 904. I could ask you who you think it's going to be, but who knows?
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's a little scary because right now the committee thinks that SMU is a lot better than Alabama.
Uh-huh.
So how does the championship game hurt a team?
Yeah.
That's what I don't
understand.
And are you
and listen, it's a dangerous precedent to knock out a team that makes a conference championship game.
Absolutely.
Dangerous precedent by the committee. And obviously things are going to I shouldn't say obviously. Do you think things will get tweaked? The rules will change a little bit after this first year, or do you think they'll wait?
Maybe this year and next year I think are set.
Okay.
And then the whole new deal, did they go to 14 teams,
Right.
16 teams, in 26 and beyond?
Okay.
That's when the new contracts kick in. But I wish they would tweak the top four lines.
Yeah.
And not make it automatic for conference championship. Let the conference champion play.
Yes.
But seed as far as strength, because right now it's not equitable on that four
concur.
line.
Yes, that's fair. All right, so then after Orlando picks, then there are 6 bowls, including the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl, that are viewed on an equal level. That's what you were told. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
So those 6, I'll let you name them for me because I'll mess it up. But I know one is Tampa, Jacksonville, Memphis, Nashville, Vegas,
and Houston. Yep.
Okay, so those 6 bowls now will – so how does that work? What do we do from there? So now you have a list. Tell me how that works. Give me a little backdoor stuff Sunday. What are we doing? Well, we're sitting around together. Where are we?
Yeah. Well, when it was established, the 6-pack of those games, proximity was an important factor. Opponents were an important factor, and those kind of overrode anything else because no one really had a pick. A 9-3 team didn't have a pick over a 7-5 or a 6-6 team.
Okay.
It was all proximity. What makes it work for the success of the bowls?
Because it's business.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And really, at that level, everybody's getting ready for next year.
Right.
There's nobody. You'll see a lot of seniors not playing.
Right.
Of that nature. So you just can't predict who's going to play or who's not.
Fair enough. But
if it plays out, then that bodes well for Florida in one of the 3 Florida Bowls. So Orlando, probably not.
Right.
Tampa, perhaps.
Orlando has the pick above us. They're not going to take 7-5 Florida over 9-3 South Carolina.
Or 9-3 Alabama.
9-3 Alabama, maybe. Yeah.
So those things kick into play.
Okay.
So once all these things start to fill out, then we'll find out about 2:30 or 3 o'clock. The SEC will let us know you have access to Team A. We'll notify the ACC at that time to say we have Team A.
Okay.
And then the ACC will pivot to say this is who's available for that game.
Okay.
And if it were Florida, then it would not be Miami.
Right.
Because of
is that a rule or is that a
Yeah, I think
obviously they would not want that.
Correct.
We play them at the beginning of next year. We just played them.
Right.
Even though it would be an attractive matchup for fans, we don't need that.
You avoid rematches of last year, this year, and games for 2025.
So Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, top 12. Alabama, maybe top 12. Then you're talking about Ole Miss, South Carolina. One of these is going to, again, Alabama, perhaps. Missouri is 9-3.
Yep.
Then you got Texas A&M and LSU,
8-4,
and then you got Florida at 7-5.
Right.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7.
That would populate that
Yes.
Orlando plus a 6-pack.
Okay, so the 6-pack would look. So now we're fighting over one of those teams to the point, and they're all viewed equally, but are they equal?
Well, I think every team probably is going to have a Florida Bowl among their top 2 or 3.
So are the payouts equal or
payouts
close to
are equal?
They're equal.
They're all equal.
All those bowl games have the same payout. Okay,
correct. So that's why
so the money's not that big a deal.
Money's not a big deal.
Okay,
it's all proximity, and these schools too. they want to make it convenient for their band to go, for their parents of their players, for their fans.
Okay.
I mean, once you fly at this level, you're going to miss a lot of fans attending your game.
In other words, Florida going to Vegas a couple years ago, plus they've already been to Vegas, so I would tend to think Vegas probably not going to be. And I don't think Vegas necessarily would want Florida either, quite frankly. I think, they'd
love to have A&M there.
Yes.
Or Missouri, or one of the 9-win
Well, you
teams.
think it's got to be one of the,
a Western team.
Or Houston would take A&M.
Or LSU.
Or LSU. Okay.
A&M can't go to Houston because they were there last year.
A&M cannot go to Houston.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. So A&M will go to Vegas or, wherever else they would go. I guess Memphis, Nashville.
Yeah.
Right?
So you got to fill all those spots there. But, what?
So it doesn't matter that necessarily 9-3 or like 9-3 versus 7-5 is not quite as important.
Correct, but the conference then would have to make a decision.
Okay.
Do they want to give preference to 9-win teams over 7-win teams?
Okay.
And if they decide to do that,
right,
that's not good for us.
Right.
To get Florida here.
Okay.
So a lot depends on what the metrics are in place. What do these other teams want to do? Do they want to stay close to home?
Right. I got you.
Do they want to travel and fly, which really is going to prevent folks from attending?
Okay, now when they call Florida, and you obviously have great relationships with everybody in the conference, but when they call Florida, does the fact that they were here for Florida Georgia factor into Florida's decision? Do you think?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Scott could answer that.
Yeah,
I think Scott would be happy to play in the state of Florida.
Okay, so he's state of Florida guy.
Yeah.
So would you say, and I'm just guessing here, I'm only speculating, and you know more than me, but I'm guessing then Tampa or Jacksonville for Florida.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, that gives us a 50-50 chance.
Now, there could be something could happen. There could be an explanation, and all of a sudden,
the 9-win team discussion. Well, we've got to place them and send Florida to Memphis or something.
Right.
Which, Florida's on your doorstep. And, that's flying 2 teams to 2 destinations where you could at least have one drive.
Now, if you get Florida, you're gold.
Absolutely.
You're sold out. Again, Florida has, even though they're 7-5 versus 9-3, they have all the parameters you want in a bowl team because there's an excitement level. There's DJ Lagway, a budding superstar. There's a team on the upswing. There's a fan base that's hungry for a bowl game because they haven't had, so there's a lot of, most Gator fans did not go to Vegas a couple years ago. So, boom, you got that's what any bowl director would want, yes?
Absolutely. And there's only one game difference in the conference standings because those teams are 5-3 and Florida's 4-4. So it's not there's like a two-game spread there, but also look at who the SEC teams at that 5-3 and 4-4 who have played within the conference, not to mention outside the conference. But I think there's a great disparity there in some of these 5-3 teams compared to Florida's 4-4 and who they've played, who they've defeated, things of that nature. So that plays into Florida's hands, and they're coming off wins over Ole Miss and LSU, 8-win and 9-win team.
Okay, so Ole Miss is a team that I think there's a genuine excitement for Ole Miss. Ole Miss would be now Ole Miss could end up in Orlando.
Correct.
But
Missouri,
if not,
Missouri could too.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
Oh, yeah. You just don't know. And Missouri, if you're Missouri, do you want to come to Florida? You probably do. Maybe you do. Again, the travel thing figures into it, though. What about our fan base?
Absolutely.
While it seems a little bit more, it's kind of, hey, beautiful weather. We're in the Sunshine State, so I get that part. But if you're Missouri, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
Right.
Yeah, and so I'm just thinking though, if not Florida, man, LSU would be great. Ole Miss would be great. South Carolina was here
2 years ago.
But they've always there's a longstanding good tradition with South Carolina and the TaxSlayer Gator Bowl, so that would be fine. I guess Alabama would be a possibility if they fall and they don't get selected by Orlando.
Right. That's right.
So it will be
possibilities.
It will be interesting. It will be very interesting to see. Now sort of pivot to the ACC for me, and let's talk about the possibilities in the ACC as we look ahead. Right. So, so everybody's telling me Miami's going to the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Is that?
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would think that would be a the pick that Steve Hogan would take, and he gets really the first pick in the ACC pool.
That's the Pop-Tarts guy?
They do pay more than we do, and more than San Diego.
Okay.
So Steve will get his pick of teams.
Okay.
And, he'd take, if Clemson was available, then he'd probably have to determine, does he take Clemson or Miami?
Ooh.
And then
I'm going to take Clemson over Miami just in the respect of I know who's coming. Clemson has a little bit stronger fan base.
But also a dynamic. If SMU loses and does not play in the college football playoff, they have to play in one of the three bowls.
Which would be, what are the three?
San Diego, Orlando, and here. But I really think that maybe San Diego might be, because Dallas, easier trip.
Yeah.
So, that flips to where we would probably have a pick. Clemson can't come.
Right.
So you maybe Syracuse, Duke, those teams would be in contention, and Louisville from the outside looking.
What about Georgia Tech?
Now you got to have at least 8 wins to make this premium pool.
Okay.
So all the 7-win ACC teams are not eligible for our game.
Okay. So Georgia Tech's not eligible.
For our bowl.
For your game.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
All right. See, it's, again, information that I did not know. That's interesting because, quite frankly, Florida-Syracuse would be a great game.
Yeah, I think
a lot of orange. Florida-Duke be great. Well, you get Florida, you're gold. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Florida-Duke, Florida-Syracuse.
So you will guaranteed to have either Syracuse, tell me if I'm missing a team here, Syracuse, Louisville, or Duke. Is there another one that you could possibly have? Like, you could have Miami, I guess?
Yeah, a lot depends on, I don't know what Steve Hogan's going to do in Orlando. So,
and you could have Clemson. No, you can't have Clemson.
Can't have Clemson.
So it's really it comes down to possibly Miami, but a long shot. But it looks like Syracuse, Louisville, or Duke.
Yeah, I think one of those teams.
One of those teams
could
almost
play.
has to be here.
Yep.
There's no other options, though, is there?
You're right. I mean, you've pegged it just right.
Okay. All right. So there you have it. So we're pretty sure we got Syracuse, Louisville, or Duke coming here. Against who in the SEC remains to be seen. It's going to be fun.
And if you had Missouri playing Syracuse, you'd have 2 highly ranked teams. So you really can't go wrong in a lot of this thing. But again, our preferences are the Gators against whomever.
Greg McGarity, by the way, is our guest, and he runs the Gator Bowl. Take me through what you do Sunday. Like, what do you gather? Do we all the Gator Bowl people gather together? How does Sunday work?
Yeah, we have a selection committee.
Okay,
that is sort of gets behind the curtain to see how the sausage is made, so to speak.
You guys do.
We do.
Yes.
And so then we'll all gather at noon and we'll watch the selection show.
Right.
And then our committee huddles around 2 or 3:30.
Okay.
About the time where we find out who may be in play for us.
Okay.
And we maybe hear from one conference a little ahead of time for the announcement because the announcements will be before 5 p.m.
Okay.
So once Orlando makes their pick, then that's when the conference office will get together and start to put these matchups together.
We'll know who you're getting by 5 o'clock.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Announcement should be, we hope, around 4 o'clock unless there's a huge curveball.
Right.
Like last year, FSU, nobody expected them to be out. We didn't find out till probably 4:45 because it just threw so many curveballs that nobody anticipated.
So strange things can happen still.
They can. It could be a very quiet day. I would say if SMU wins, it'll be a relatively quiet day.
Okay.
If Clemson wins,
we get chaos.
Then noontime is going to be really interesting.
I like chaos.
So
I kind of root for that.
You're going to have it.
Yeah.
I promise you, one way or another. If Clemson wins.
Yes. And I don't know about. I watched SMU against FSU this year. I have not seen SMU a lot. I think I might have saw their one loss. Did they lose to like Nevada or something early? I don't remember. But SMU is good young coach.
BYU, I think
that's what it was. That's what it was. BYU. So it's fascinating, and it's now how different is this year from last year?
Well, the 12 teams, you had 12 teams out last year with the New Year's Day Six Bowl. So the number of teams are different. It's just the makeup may be a difference because you wouldn't have had you could have had 4 teams in the New Year's Day Six last year, the SEC. So the more you have up, it lessens the number of teams you have in your field, your possibilities. But it's going to be pretty much the same thing. There's drama. Instead of drama at 4 and 5, there's drama at 10, 11, and 12 this year.
Right.
So even if you went to 16 teams, think how complicated it would be. Because you'd have more 3 and 4 loss teams.
Right.
at 16, 17, 18, and so forth.
Yes.
So if they go to 16, they may leave it at 12. Who knows? But I think within the next 6 months, they'll have to determine what happens in 2026 and beyond. Number of teams.
Well, you have to promise me one thing on Sunday. When Andy King gets up to speak, you have to muffle him. Yeah, okay, Andy, yes. Okay.
Well, our chairman is...
I want to rely on you, Greg McGarity, much more than Andy, who I love.
Well, Andy will be in Atlanta, along with several of the members of our committee, so they'll be up there having a good time for sure.
Well, listen, we appreciate it. That's great. I mean, it's great primer, great lessons, and an exciting time for Jacksonville. And let's get a good bowl game and see what happens. We'll keep our fingers crossed. But listen, whatever happens, happens. You're going to get who you get. Yep. And if you get, if you get an LSU, if you get an Ole Miss, if you get a South, whoever you get, it's going to be great. Yes. And listen, Syracuse is playing some great football. Yep. Fran Brown, former Georgia guy, 9-3 team, just beat Miami. Louisville's a great story, fun offense. A lot of Duke's had an unbelievable year. A lot of Lady Luck has shined on Duke at times. So, great stories all the way around. Maybe we can get Cooper Flagg to come down here and watch the game or something. Who knows? So we appreciate you, Greg McGarity. Thank you so much for stopping by. He's Greg McGarity, TaxSlayer Gator Bowl. It's all coming up on Sunday. We got answers. We'll talk about it on Monday. This is The Drill on 1010XL 92.5 FM.